Armani, not much, brother. How are you? I, I, I don't know what that opt in for a chance to win Monterey 1 month gift membership and access to exclusive. I don't know what that. I don't know where that came from. Definitely not something that I did. Hey, APG, good for you. Good to see you again, brother. We're just gonna give folks a few more minutes. Not sure what we're gonna talk about. Maybe we'll talk about shredded belts, being that that's the topic of of this week's racing. All right. Well, hope everyone's having a great week. It's been pretty nice around here the past few days. Wife and I've been hanging out at the pool, chilling while I'm working from home. Oh man, that sucks. Breaking an axle is rough. So I'm actually on uh, Hellcat axles right now. I am getting a set of uh, red eye axles. Now I don't know if they're the same as the stock Hellcat ones, but I am getting a set of red eye ones. Probably. So this guy's waiting for his to come in, his G-force ones to come in, and I'm going to take his Hellcat red eye ones. But I am on stock Hellcat ones, not stock RT ones. What do I suggest size wise? Um, so that that depends. Frank, do you plan on going forced induction as well? If you are, I would go as big as possible. Again, so I'm not an engine builder. I'm not a tuner, and I'm not a mechanic. So I'm just giving you my advice. So I wouldn't take my advice too far, but definitely check with someone that knows much more than I do. But if you're going forced air, Frank, I would definitely go as big as you can, and I'd actually go 3 inch exhaust as well if you can make that happen. So Bruce, no, I did not change my timing chain. There's Gary, man. Gary, you're awesome, brother. I definitely you don't know how much I appreciate I appreciate you chiming in every week. I do appreciate it, man. Um, yes, sir, buddy. That's gonna go towards. Here's another topic we may talk about is carrying spare parts with you when you're going to the track. So not only we'll talk about shredded belts, but we'll talk about having a spare with you as well. But Gary, again, thanks, brother. Appreciate the super chat. So back to Bruce. No, again, no, I did not change my timing chain when I got camped. I did not. Yeah, 3 weeks. Parts. Armani parts is just kind of crazy at this point. No, and it really doesn't matter what the it seems like it doesn't matter what the part is. It's always a couple weeks lead time. It's a tough nut to swallow, but sometimes you just sometimes you just got to swallow it. Um, hey, Frank, no problem, brother. Again, that's just my opinion. But if you're gonna stay NA, I would stick with 1 and 7/8, somewhere around there. And if you're staying NA, you can stay with the stock 2.5 inch exhaust. or 2 3/4. I can't remember what it is. It's either 2.5 or 2 3/4, but you can still go through full 3 inch if you're staying NA as well. The 3 inches is going to give you a lot deeper sound than the 2.5 or 2 3/4. Yeah, that's true. Nobody ever talks about when they do their cam if they do their timing chain. No, no, I didn't. But when we swap to the new engine, it's getting as much new parts as the budget can afford. Yep, Bruce, absolutely. H pipes tend to be a little deeper than X pipes as well, and it's another one of those doctors' arguments, right? You go to three different doctors, you get three different opinions. You go to three different builders and talk about H pipes and X pipes, and you get three different you get three different answers too. Um, both are better than not having them at all, and that's just my opinion. It is I would rather have an H pipe or an X pipe rather than just straight through, because they do help with scavenging. Both will help with scavenging. Sound is what you want, right? Yeah, everybody loves that. Everybody loves that sound. And I'll tell you, with the setup I have, I got 1 and 7/8 Cooks long tube headers. They're high flow cats, and the Borla attack. And all of the guys are like, Don, we know when you go down the track just by the sound of your just by the sound of your car. So you can get a lot different sound from a lot of different setups. So mine is not the 3 inch. I wanted to go 3 inch, but the only thing they had at the time when I got mine was the Borla. I want to say it's 2 3/4, two and 3/4 if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure that's what the Borla attack came in. But yeah, definitely, whatever you do, you can absolutely create your own unique sound depending on your setup. So let's talk about belts and kind of what happened with my belt. Yeah, back pressure. Back pressure. Yeah. From what I've seen, you want a little back pressure, but you don't want a lot. Um, but back to the shredding belts. So let's be honest, right? As hard as I run shake and bake, that belt was going to shred eventually anyway. Um, Now, how I had that belt installed before, off the top of my head, I can't really tell you, but I know it couldn't have been 100% right because it was too short when Mike and I tried to put on the exact same belt he had. He had the exact same belt I had that was on the car as a spare for him, and it was definitely too short. Um, but on the bright side, I got a 113 inch. So if you have a 5.7, you have a Pro Charger. I have a 360 upper pulley, and I have an 18% lower dampener. You want at least 113, because the 111 and a half, we probably could have made it fit if we had the tensioner tool, the serpentine belt tool, which I'll get to in a minute. I bought one, but um, we probably could have made that 111 and a half fit, but it would have been super super tight. Even the 113. So I went with a Gates RPM. That's their racing belt, 113 inches, and it initially it seemed just as long as the 111 and a half 111 and a half, because when I put it on and I stretched it out, I'm like, this isn't much further than where I was before. So long story short, back and forth in our chat, which is where I go to when I need all my help, and usually it's Mike come to save the day. This time, Ant and Jay came to save the day. They just happened to be in the chat at the same time I was when I was having the issue trying to get my belt on. Um, uh, like I said, Don's not a mechanic, so this is my first time doing a serpentine belt too. Other than assisting Mike and his brother and watching them doing it at the track. So this is my first time doing this by myself. So eventually it came down to, hey Don, that I was getting pissed because I'm like, I bought a 113-inch belt. This should be an inch and a half, almost 2 inches longer than the other one, and it should fit. It should fit without me having to torque down on the tensioner. So I'm going around and around, and I get ticked off, and I'm like, I get in the chat and I'm like, you know what, this belt doesn't fit either. Screw it. I'm just gonna go to Napa and I'm gonna buy a 114, a 115, and a 116. One of those three got that's wide body Mike. One of those three got to fit. And then actually it was either Ant or Jay came back in and said, hey, why don't you just go get a serpentine belt tool and it should fit. And long story short, that's exactly what I did. I went and got what size rims? 17s. 17s at the track. Sorry, Frank, getting sidetracked. But back to the belt. Went, got the serpentine belt tool. It was super close between the fans and the tensioner, but a little proper persuasion got the tool in there. We got to torque down on the tensioner. Got the belt on. The new belt is on. It's running good. We went for a test drive earlier today, and the belt's back on and good. So long story short, 28 inches. Long story short, all right, let's go back a second and talk about spare parts real quick. So a belt is definitely one of those ones you should have a spare a spare of. So Don is going to that point to grab a few spare parts. One is a belt. Eventually, I'll look at getting a spare tensioner. I may just get a stock one to get me from point A to point B until I figure out if something happens to the HHP one that I have now, and also the stock idler. I'm gonna grab one of those and put that in the spare parts bin to take with me to the track everywhere I go. Hey Brian, good to see you, brother. But back to Bruce. I think I said 28 inch. So 28 inch in the front, 28 inch in the rear, and they're 28 by 10. I can't remember what the Hoosiers are now. I think they're 28 by 10 and a half. And the Mickeys I was running 305, 45, 17. Yep. Wide body Mike, wide body Mike's answer questions for me, man. I appreciate it while I'm just rambling. Hey, Timothy, good deal, man. That's exactly what I got. Mine's a 2016 5.7 with a shaker, except I got the 8-speed automatic. Nothing wrong with banging them gears. I love to bang gears too. And here's kind of why I went with the automatic. This goes back to before Don was involved in any cars, any racing, any car shows, nothing. Don was just like, I want, an old school looking muscle car. And going through test drove Mustang, rented a Mustang, rented a Camaro, actually rented a Scat Pack, believe it or not, and just fell in love with the Challenger, and that's just the way I went. And the only reason, back to the reason why I went with the 8-speed is because it was a daily driver, and I do drive 30 to 45. Well, I used to drive 30 to 45 minutes back and forth to work. and I just didn't want to worry about having to shift gears in that much traffic because there is a lot of traffic going back and forth. Let's see. So wide body Mike answered the tire that I was using. Now I have I'm pretty sure they're 28 by 10 Hoosiers, and they're bias ply. 571 torque and 590 rear wheel horsepower. That's pretty good, Brian. That's healthy. That's for sure. Uh, that's definitely putting you past the scat packs. That's for sure. 373 on a manual. Gotcha. All right, Bruce and Mike going back and forth. That's awesome. This is why I really wanted to start doing this was to get people's questions, what problems, what issues they're having, and get some of my folks like Wide Body Mike. Dude, you don't know how much I appreciate everything, everything you've done for me. It's been incredible. There's not very many people like you out there, and I highly appreciate it. Let alone jumping in the chat and answering folks' questions as they ask them. Uh, if you don't know, Wide Body Mopar Mike has been in the Mopar scene for a long time, pretty much since Wide Mike. Correct me if I'm wrong. Since the beginning, 2000 what 8ish, or even before that. I think you were in the SRT fours before that, if I'm not mistaken. Uh, so Wide Body Mike's been around the block many a times with with these cars, and also had his own shop for a while. Thanks, Bruce, man, I appreciate it. But he's been around the block many times, knows these cars in and out 100%. If you want to know where I get all my stuff from, it's usually from Mike. Now sometimes I don't listen and I wind up paying for it, but most of the time I do take Mike's advice definitely to heart. Whether I follow it or not, I take his advice to heart, and then I usually wind up paying for it when I don't take his advice. Right, Bruce. I appreciate it, brother. All right, Joshua. How you doing, brother? Appreciate you tuning in. Yeah, watch out for those R triple eights. They're not cheap. Of course, none of the tires are cheap now nowadays. But I know before R triple eights were pretty pricey. Uh, and again, they're not an all season radial, so when it rains, be careful. Yeah, there he goes. Mike's hitting me up. 2008 for the Hemis, and he was in the neon world before that. Yep, it's a Dodge. Should have bought a Ford. Well, when they're found on road dead, you should have bought a Dodge, right? Oh, he's building a pro touring Chevy truck. That's awesome. Uh, those early model Chevys are now going for big bucks. Des Moines, Iowa, awesome. Planning to build 2019 RT. Should I do Magnuson, Elbrock, Whipple, or Pro Charger? No racing. Just like to show off. I'm telling you, uh, Mike will probably chime in here in a minute, but you can't go wrong with any of those superchargers you just read off. What you need to ask yourself is when you drive your car, what kind of feeling do you want? If you want that Hellcat positive displacement supercharger feeling, then you're gonna have to go Magnuson, Elrock, or Whipple. If you want something that's not much, but a little less tame, and and the ability to drive as if the car is stock, run the Procharger. But once you put your foot in it, you're gonna know it. The only thing with the Magnuson and Rock and Whipple, you're gonna get that feeling all of the time. It's all in all the time. And like I said, it's gonna be like that Hellcat type of experience. You might not get that Hellcat power, but you'll get Hellcat like experience with those positive displacement ones versus the Procharger. Me personally, for daily driving, I love the Procharger. Um, As a matter of fact, when I first installed it, the car ran better than it ever did after we got it installed. Um, Actually got a little better gas mileage when, obviously, when you don't put your foot in it. But it actually got a little better gas mileage because it was running that much more efficient. Um, but I love the Procharger. I'm biased to the Procharger just because I love it. Yeah, Brian, that's, depending on where you are, it's really tough to find good tuners. Uh, I would say make sure whoever you do go with, make sure they concentrate on the Hemi platform, because it is different. I mean, if you ask Ford guys, Fords are different than Hemis, and Hemis are different than Fords, and Chevys are different than Fords. Chevys are different than Hemis. They're all different platforms and require a little different knowledge, a little different know-how to tune each and every one of them. So Brian, back to you real quick, in Tampa, Florida. So are you looking for someone to dyno tune, or are you looking for someone to do a email tuning? Because there's a lot of good email tuners out there. Even if you're forced induction, uh, there's some good email tuners out there that can get you up and running. I know Dave, my tuner, is starting to get into email tuning, so you can email Dave. But it may take him a while to get back to you, but he will get back to you because he's super busy. But worst case scenario, Brian, I would look into one of the top email tuners and try and get it done that way. A 50 Chevy Pro. Oh man, that'll be a sweet truck. I'd love to see it when it's done. My dyno run is good, but the drivability sucks. Oh, I hear that a lot. I do hear that a lot. Because what a lot of tuners will do, especially ones that are not familiar with the Hemi platform, will just go all out on the dyno, get you everything they can, and don't worry about drivability. Dave is great with drivability. Literally, I mean, without putting my foot into the car, you'd almost think my car was a stock NA car. A little bit more power than the usual 5.7, but it feels like a stock car when I'm driving my car. It really does. Like I said, other than the power, but that's the problem with a lot of tuners. Again, that don't understand or have worked with the Hemi platform for a while. You'll get that big dyno number, but your drivability will be terrible. The only thing I can do, Brian, I can say, Brian, and I can't remember who it was last week that came up with the tuning problem. Is yeah, you're gonna have to jump to another tuner. Uh, let's see. I'm trying to keep up with the comments. Uh, let let's be honest, and Mike can correct me, right? But turbos are the most efficient because they run off your exhaust. They're going to be the most efficient. Um, but turbos have their right. All of these have their pros and cons, and you have to take and weigh those pros and each of those pros and cons into what you want your setup to do and how you want it to operate, and what are you doing? Are you just street driving? Are you street racing? Are you at the drag strip racing? You have to take all these things into account when you're looking at supercharger versus turbos. Um, but again, turbo is going to be your most efficient way to make power because you're not losing power to make power. You're not using power to make power with any supercharger. You're using power to make power. Where with a turbo, it's making it off the exhaust. That's just Don's simplistic view of the planet right there. No problem, Joshua. I appreciate it too. There's Mike chiming in on the turbos. I'm just reading through the comments real quick. Yeah, Brian, I would actually, when you're about a month, maybe a month and a half out of getting your cam installed, I would start trying to contact Dave. it it may take you that long to get in with him and get everything set up and ready for him to email tune your car. So I would hit him up early in the process. There's Mike chiming in with the tuners. ZH Tunes, Dusterhoff, and Cetera. They're all great tuners, and they're keep in mind these guys are all busy. These guys are all busy. When you get these the guys that knows what they're doing, they're busy, so it may take some time. So that's why I say, Brian, hit whichever route you go. If you do go with Dave, like I said, hit him up. Month and a half before your cam install, so you can get everything set up and him ready to tune your car. So you're not waiting around after the cam install, waiting for a tune to drive your car. Yeah, so you shouldn't be getting any. You definitely shouldn't be getting any codes. So there's something wrong there, Brian. From what those guys are doing, what whoever tuned it, yeah, should not be getting any codes once you're dyno tuned. Other than possible getting cat codes if you still have catalytic converters. I get cat codes all the time, and Dave and I have shut them off multiple times. And in this day and age, it's getting to the point where you can't really shut them off. So they come up, I hook up the Diablo, and I just reset them. Bruce, stage one cam headers and boost, drivable to work. Absolutely. And like I said, I would go Pro Charger if you're going to go boost. Just for drivability, I would go Pro Charger. So Todd, Don, my first 715 wheel horsepower on 93 and 802 on race fuel. That's those those are pretty good. Those are pretty good numbers. Pretty good numbers. Ford, Ford and GM don't give you that. Yeah, that's the truth. Let's see. Let me get down here. This thing keeps skipping on me. Yeah, twin turbos are ridiculous. Really. The Hellion kit has its pros and cons, but yeah, those twin turbo kits, you can make some big power out of those twin turbo kits. But keep in mind, that's all top end power. That's not getting you. That's not getting you much at the low end. Uh, Brian 10-4, thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. See, wide body Mike, man. That's my cam, baby. Comp Cam 270. We may very well stick with it when we go to the bigger engine. It just depends on the budget. We may go with another cam. Big deal, cammed out. Miles out turnkey reliability done by Godfather Racing out of Michigan. Yeah, never heard of them. That's a good deal. So I'll keep an eye out for folks looking for people in Michigan, and I'll send them over to Godfather Racing. Sounds like they're doing good for you, Todd. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I'm just average Joe, just out there trying to race his car, really, right? Um, and Mike is too. He's not the average Joe. He's super smart, super smart when it comes to the engines and everything. He's really getting into the tuning scene now, um, so he really knows these platforms in and out. But he's just another, smart average guy that's out there trying to race his car as well. Oh God, I keeps on jumping on me. Yeah, email tunes aren't cheap, depending on who you go to. Uh, big lobes and a long duration. Yeah, we do get we I get a little chop out of my car, but not a lot. So big deal. Think of your car as a computer, right? That's all it is. Is it's a computer chip, and you can tune it as many times. I've had my car tuned hundreds of times on the same PCM. So you can tune. It doesn't help or hinder anything. You can tune it as many times as you want. Yeah, yeah. There's Mike. he's Mike's Mike's another one. He's got over 100 tunes in his. I couldn't tell you how many tunes I've got in my car. Well over 100. I can guarantee you that. Well over 100. What is the best cam to use without changing the torque converter? Um, so I had my 270 before I got my torque converter, and the car ran great. It really did. Um, Mike will probably chime in. Probably chimed in already. I'm falling behind in the chat, but the Comcam 270 has done me great the entire time. Um, there's Mike chiming in. If you want to go that big power, over he's saying 1100. I'm gonna say 1,000. Once you go over that 1,000 horsepower, uh, just be ready for things to break, tuning issues to show up, and that's just race life at that power level. Um, Things are gonna break, things are gonna happen, tunes are gonna change. Wide body Mike's having his own issues at this point with his transmission, um, and he's over that 1100 stuff. Uh, I'm not sure how far over 1100, but I know he's well over 1100. And yeah, once you get into that 1,000 horsepower plus, watch out. Your wallet's gonna feel it. Yeah, Todd, I'm looking at the same thing. Eventually, getting a water to air intercooler to deal with these intake temps. Yeah, big deal. You're gonna have to. Yeah, Mike. Mike's he's getting good at the tuning game, I'll tell you, but he's not a tuner. So big deal. If you go back up in the chat a few, Mike routed off some of the big name tuners, email tuners. You can also go to Dave and email Dave. Dave will email tune your car as well. 100 horsepower per cylinder. That's a good goal. That's a good goal. Fully forged 6.4, four innovations, level 4 fuel system dual pump. Well, there, big coach. There's a lot that goes into that, right? Um, it goes into what fuel you're using, what forced induction you're using if you're using forced induction. Um, there's a lot more that goes into just with the fully forged. What are the what cam are you using? Long tube, do you have long tube headers, full catback exhaust? There's just a lot that goes into it more than just the forged internals and getting dual fuel pumps. But with a forged 6.4, sky's the limit. I mean, you could go as far as you want, really. Wide body Mike, he's in that forged 6.4 range, and he's well over 1,100 horsepower to the rear wheels. So you could definitely get that out of your car. But like I said, without some more specs, on the engine and what else you got in the drivetrain, um, we'd have to look at all of that. Uh, so wide body Mike's saying 900 plus, depending on the complete set. Exactly. So he's saying the same thing, right? Without knowing what your setup is, big coach. Uh, like I said, the sky's the limit. I mean, you could go into those big numbers too if you wanted to. All right, going down. Best cam 270. I'm telling you that cam has been remarkable in good old shake and bake. There's Mike, right? So you don't need a converter. I ran the Comp Cam 270 with the stock converter and had absolutely no problems, no issues whatsoever once it got tuned right. I have ran into the same tuning experience in the very beginning. I talked it in depth. I think it was either the first one or last week, but I had a lot of hard hard bucking when I first got my car back and went to Jay, and literally within his first tune, car ran better than it ever did. But love the Compcam 270, absolutely. Yeah, Steph, mod to fame. He's had a lot of issues with his car. Again, once you get over that 1,000 horsepower, that 1,000 horsepower range, open up the pocketbook because stuff's going to start breaking. Things are going to go wrong, and there's no warranty on a lot of these things, just because the nature of the game, right? There's so many variables. Nobody really guarantees a lot of the stuff. So yeah, open up your pocketbook once you get over 1,000 horsepower. There's Mike chiming in again. Bruce, there's a cam specs. So Mike, if you're looking, there's his cam specs you were asking for earlier. Gap Fest coming up in Texas Motorplex. Oh, you're gonna spectate, huh? All right. So you got Ford's MMX components. Awesome. So wide body Mike coming in with some of his HP90 issues. So now he's got me scared. He's got me scared to put my HP90 in, but I'm nowhere close to his power level yet. So we'll see how it goes. All right, Wide Mighty, I'm Bruce going back and forth. Uh, I'm content at my wheel horsepower. Come on, Todd. None of us ever said that. Come on now. You're running the six piston Hellcats. Yeah, I hit brakes. I think it was last week. I talked about. Someone asked me about brakes. I'm still on my stock 5.7 brakes, and the only reason why is I still know I can stop in all of the shutdown lanes, even the short one that's at Mason Dixon. I know I can stop and I can get off the road, and I don't have to worry about brake fade quite yet. But it's knowing the capabilities of your car, knowing the capabilities of your brakes, and driving to those capabilities and not going outside of those capabilities. So that's why I'm still on stock brakes. Yeah, there's Mike chiming in. He's in the nine O's, looking for that 899. He did a 15-inch brake conversion just to lose some weight. So he's the one to hit up if you're looking at getting smaller brakes. You're right, Todd. They all fail, right? Even at that same power level, you get to that 1,000 horsepower. No matter what the manufacturer, you're gonna have those problems and just open up the wallet. Look at Stang mode and his GT500 and all of the issues he's had with that car. Whoa, he's had a lot of issues with that car. These cars are boats. Bust out another 1,000. That's about right. That's about right, Tim. Hey, there's Three Pedal Jay. What's going on, brother? Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, Todd. Mike's car is literally ridiculous. I mean, I'm gonna have to do another full scale video once he gets through his transmission issues. It may not be till next year, maybe, because there's. I'm not gonna give Mike's plans out, but there's Mike's got a lot of plans, and we may have to wait till next year to really get a good down and dirty on his car. But I need to do another video on his car and run down all of the modifications. I kind of sloughed off on the last video I did on his car. I really need to do a much better one. That car deserves it for sure. Trans brother, trans. That's absolutely right. Yeah, Jay's been through his engine a couple times, trying to get his stuff right. Todd, I agree with you. There is a fun factor and a more of an attachment to the road with those 6 speeds. If when I bought my car, if I would have bought my car for just weekend driving or whatever, I would have bought a stick, no doubt about it, back then. But like I said, I bought it as a daily, and just the traffic around here in the DC area, there was just no way I was gonna drive a stick shift. Right, Mike talking about his wheelie about a month ago, and he's at 100% right. After he hit that wheelie, it's never been the same after that. Jay, you said it, brother. I've said it probably 20 times. 20 times. If you get in that 1,000 horsepower, it's definitely not for the faint of heart, and definitely for those that don't have a big wallet. Bruce, he's coming. I keep beating him up to do YouTube videos. I don't know what he's waiting on. Well, I know what's Jay runs out of time. That's Jay's problem at this point. But I'll start getting back on him to do some YouTube videos. There's Jay. Well, once he gets his thing together, and his car's he's got a stick car, so three pedal J. That's what the three pedal is for because he's got three pedals. He's building a monster. It's going to be interesting to see once he gets it done. Man, I wish my car only had 40,000 miles on it. It's just gone over 112,000, and that's why I'm changing the plugs and got. Well, I had to get the new belt anyway. I was already planning to get a new belt for the car anyway, but I was going to do the belt, the plugs, and get an oil change because it is at 112 right now. Rev matching, no better feeling. Yeah. There's Mike. Mike coming in with his plans for the future. So yeah, if he can't get his 90 under control, he's going turbo 400 and with Holly and just let her rip. It'll be a race car, 100% race car after that. Jay, I'm going to teach you the Don's way to edit a video. It's slap it all together and just just slap it together and make it a video. Yeah, there's Mike. He was going for that 899, and he was so close so many times. He's ran. God, Mike, what did you run like 12 or 13 nine O's, and just couldn't get that 899 before everything went crazy. Yeah, it is a bad time. Absolutely, Tim. Tim, you got it, brother. It's a rough time because of the weather. Weather is horrible at this time of year. Yeah, 15 wheel conversion. You don't necessarily have to do it. Mike's cut a number of 1.3s in the 60 foot on 17-inch tires or 17-inch rims. Yeah, that's what he's looking for. I think once it, if these next couple things fix his transmission issues, yeah, it's the 899 is probably not going to happen till the fall. Mike may disagree with me, but probably not going to happen till the fall. Same thing with my nine. It's not going to happen till fall. All right, Bruce, thanks for tuning in, brother. Hey, I appreciate it. Yeah, hit that like button. What y'all waiting for? Uh, that's true, Mike. A lot of your stuff has been in crappy weather. Yep, heat and humidity are the humidity and grains and the heat really kill supercharged cars. Yeah, there's Mike. 15 nine O's at three different tracks. Yeah, I'm telling you, and this is kind of why I started to do this. And really, RT Life was the one that really got me to start doing YouTube. But the 5.7 platform is such a good platform to start with. It, yeah, it takes a lot of parts and a lot of labor to get it up to the to Hellcat power, but you can make a lot more. We're gonna prove it. We're gonna make a whole lot more once we throw the forged engine in there. Yeah, Mike's got it. So I tried the last time to explain the humidity and grains. They're part of each other, but they're not dependent upon each other. One could be low, one could the other one could be high. The other one could be high, the other one could be low. It just it's weird, but it's just one of those things that I can't explain is above my head. But you can have high humidity but low grains, and you can have low humidity and high grains. It's all about how much water is actually in that when it comes to grains in that cubic foot, I think, of air uh, is what the grains come from. Definitely, Jay. October is going to be awesome. Yep, can't compress water or moisture. That's for sure, and you can't burn it either. Yeah, yeah. Jay will tell you because he's working on that 6.4. 6.4 takes a lot of parts as well. Low humidity, low temperature, and low altitude for the win. Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, fall is gonna be the time where you're gonna see out of our crew. Hopefully Jay will be done. Hopefully Mike, uh, the mechanic Mike, not wide body Mike, mechanic Mike. He's got all the parts for his car. Hopefully by October he's got his car together, and we've got the entire crew out there running nines or faster. There's Mike chiming on in on the 6.4. That's his baby, and that's pretty much where he's at right now. Everything he's done to a 6.4. Let's see where are we at. We're running up on just about an hour. What products you use detailing? Let's just say I don't, and I take my car to the car wash. It's been I got it ceramic coated. Oh gosh, 3 years ago I think now. 3 or 4 years, 3 years ago. I think 3 years ago. I had it ceramic coated, but uh, yeah, I don't really do a lot on when it comes to detailing. But when I was doing some car shows and doing detailing stuff, it was definitely chemical guys. Yeah, Mike's taking a lot of weight out of his car. Dawn dish, Dawn dish soap. Uh, that and the only other thing I do is I use oh excuse me, I use turtle wax tar and bug and tar remover to get all the tire stuff off the back of the car. And that's not all the time. I should do it more often than I do, but when I do it, that's what I use. Oh, hang on, someone wants in. Ah, you little. Was trying to get the star of the show in here. He was whining to come in, but I opened the door and he took off. Yep, McGuire's is another good one. Well, come on. Come on. Where are you at? Jump. You know what? I'll just leave the door open. I'll leave that door open a crack. Maybe he'll jump in here. But we're coming up on that hour mark. So we'll start trying to wind down a little bit. Mike chiming in on what he uses, the McGuire stuff. You can't go wrong. Chemical Guys, McGuire's. It's all good stuff. Todd asking carbon fiber body parts. No, I haven't. Um, it'd definitely be interesting to see if anybody has. Yeah, there's Mike, right? Chiming in. Yeah, and those carbon fiber doors are expensive. To only shave, 20, maybe 25 pounds. I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze. Yeah, you could definitely shave some pounds, doing, Lexan or the optic armor, windows, which are kind of, Jay, you'll have to chime in on those, but you could definitely lose some weight on the windows. Pretty sure Andy is still selling Procharger, and he's the parts manager at Waldorf Dodge. So you have to call Waldorf Dodge Parts Department, ask for Andy specifically because he's the only one that's going to know what you're talking about when you're talking about ordering a Procharger. So big coach, just make sure you have all your specs. If you've done a 6.4 intake conversion, make sure they know that because there's going to be parts that are different that you're going to need if you got a 6.4 intake. Yep, there's Mike, right? MMX does Pro Chargers as well, but like I said, I got mine out of Waldorf Dodge from Andy. But like I said, big coach, just make sure you have all your specs and you relay them to him so they know exactly what parts and pieces you're going to need. Because if you have the 6.4 intake, there's a number of parts that are different from the 5.7 intake because they come in at different places. So the 5.7 comes in pretty much straight in, and then the 6.4 comes in at an angle. So there's a number of parts that are different. All right, Boosted Hemi, good to see you, brother. Hey, get in that gym, do what you need to do. That's for sure. Thanks for chiming in, brother. I appreciate it. We're just about to wrap up though. We're just about to wrap up. But you can Boosted Hemi. You can go back through the chat. There's a lot of good information back through the chat. Wide body Mark chiming in, three pedal J chiming in, Todd chiming in with a lot of his knowledge, dropping a lot of knowledge in here. Yeah, wide body bike is definitely he's definitely in another zip code when it comes to the 392. Hey, no problem, big coach. Yeah, you can use any of the Pro Charger dealers. They're gonna get you the same kit, roughly. Roughly the same price, probably. I mean, you could do some checking around, but you can look at all the big guys that do sell it. So like MMX, HHP, you can get them Beefcake Performance, I think. sells them as well. There's a number of places where you can get them, and you know you can try and compare prices. But yeah, there's a lot of places that have them. Yeah, Jay, I've ordered a lot of stuff from HHP as well. Matter of fact, I just got my plugs in within a couple of days of ordering them. So yeah, I've never had any issues with HHP. I haven't really bought anything big from them. It's just been what else? What have I bought? Their tensioner, which they were great for me when I broke my first one when the first belt shredded. They sent me a new one. Um, they're always quick to ship. That's for sure. Oh, and again, it depends on the product, right? You know, if you're looking for tires, you're probably going to wind up waiting. Um, Injectors. I'm running 1050X. ID 10 ID 1050X are the injectors I'm running now. But I'm sure in the future I'm probably going to run those to the ground, so I'm probably going to have to upgrade those sooner or later as well. Mike's Mike's got the big boys in there. He's ready to do whatever he needs to do with those 1650s. Oh, APG man. Hey, thanks, brother. I appreciate it. Hey, good night, brother. I appreciate the support. You guys really don't know how much I appreciate it. And APG, you've been a supporter for a long time, brother. Along with Gary. Gary's been around for a long time as well. I definitely appreciate the both of you guys with the super chats tonight. Um, like I said, it all goes right back into Shake and Bake, baby. Goes all right back into her. There's Mike coming in with his pumps and his lines now. Yeah, he's pushing a lot of fuel into that car. That's for sure. All right, folks, we're just over an hour. Things are calming down just a tad. I appreciate y'all chiming in, Mike, Jay. Appreciate you guys. If you don't know, Mike and Jay are two folks from my Instagram chat that we do everything through, um, and all of those guys have been like Jay today, right? It's like he was the godsend today. Set me on the right track to get my belt done. There's Mike. Hey, Mike's running out of fuel with 1650s. But like I said, I'm just going to go ahead and wind this down. I appreciate everybody for coming into the chat tonight. You know, I appreciate everyone, chatting it up, asking questions. Keep me rattling for an hour. Really helps me out as you guys are chiming in on the chat with questions and things like that. I think this is a good forum where I just let you guys ask the questions and then I just give you my opinion and then Mike tells you the truth. I think we'll just leave it at that. But I appreciate everyone chiming in. Uh, Everybody have a great night, and we will see you next week at the same time. Modern Red Hemi Babe, we're out. Adios.